Welcome. My name is Jack Horriby. I am an Associate Director at Barclay Pearce Capital and Head of the London Desk. And I'm hosting today on behalf of the Australian Investment Summit, an event to be held in London on July 10, showcasing the best of Australian business and innovation. Now, one of the companies that will be headlining the event is H2X Global, an Australian fuel cell electric vehicle company. Joining me today from H2X is its CEO, Antony Tolfts. Thanks for joining me, Antony.
Jack, good day, and lovely to see you again. Great to be with you on another podcast. We did one about 3 months ago, but really appreciate the engagement and support. Looking forward to the chat.
Yeah, always love talking to you, and I very much appreciate that Australian greeting you just dropped there. Let's kick it off, and let's just start simply. For those who are unfamiliar, who is H2X and what's the company's vision?
Jack, we make great hydrogen vehicles. You might know us for making the world's only four-wheel drive that's hydrogen powered. That's just one of our models that gets a lot of attention. We're called the Warrego. We also make larger vehicles that are hydrogen powered. And we just look forward to leading the future of mobility.
That's all really, really exciting. Let's sort of take a wider view for people sort of unfamiliar with fuel cell electric vehicles and hydrogen. Can you explain, what a hydrogen vehicle is and the advantages a hydrogen vehicle would have over, say, a battery electric vehicle, which is also a zero emission vehicle?
Well, thank you, Jack. And certainly, if you're familiar with a battery vehicle, there's a lot of similarities to hydrogen, except you don't have the battery. And so that comes with a lot of advantages. The top one is they're a lot easier to refuel. A hydrogen vehicle like the ones that H2X make takes about 5 minutes to refuel, as opposed to a battery that will take you about 45 minutes, depending on your vehicle and where you're filling it up or charging it. The other benefit you have is a much longer range. So hydrogen tanks our vehicles give you about 400 k's range. If you want to go further, no worries, add more tanks and you can go further. Now, the other benefit is you can just keep refilling the tanks as long as you want, because unlike a battery that wears away over time, then you've got to worry about recycling it. The tank, you just keep refilling it. So we really like the hydrogen tech, and we're very happy with where we're placed.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a lot of strong advantages there, and it sounds like it would be well suited for more of a commercial market where time on the road is money. So is that the target market for H2X?
Absolutely. Hydrogen makes a lot of sense for commercial vehicles. That is where H2X focus. Now, you mentioned time on the road, absolutely important with a 5 minutes to refuel. You can keep the vehicle going a lot more. So also very handy for emergency vehicles. But you also raise a good point that, without having to carry a battery around, the hydrogen vehicle saves a lot of weight. And that means you can have more carrying capacity because you're not carrying a battery. So you can actually carry commercial goods or whatever you need. Performance is also better without that extra weight, and and scalability across the range. We've also spoken about battery end of life and not needing to recycle the battery. Yeah, really happy with the benefits that hydrogen offers commercial vehicles.
Yeah, from what I understand, a fuel cell, which is the main sort of engine behind a hydrogen vehicle, switching out the membranes, recyclability of that is very strong, which I think is another tick in the hydrogen bucket there. You also mentioned emergency vehicles, not something I was top of mind as well. It sounds like those types of vehicles need to be ready to go. You don't want them caught trying to charge. When God forbid I've had a heart attack. So who are your clients? Do you have orders for your vehicles?
Yeah, look, Jack, we are very happy with our client book. Our biggest customer is Renova, who are a Swedish waste management company based in Gothenburg. And look, we couldn't be happier to have them as one of our main clients. They do a lot of good for their community, but also focus on refuse collection in a sustainable way. And that's where H2X comes in. So we provide them with hydrogen vehicles that obviously are not low emission but zero emission. So the only things coming out of our vehicles is water.
Yeah, I mean, the Nordics and sort of Europe in general are very much leading the way in terms of
Absolutely.
hydrogen and all that sort of stuff. So let's change tack a little bit and talk about the specific vehicles. So, I mean, you mentioned at the top the world's first 4x4. Tell me about that project.
So H2X's vision is we're starting with a retrofit strategy. So that means we are taking an existing vehicle called a donor vehicle that is powered by an internal combustion engine, and we're retrofitting it to be hydrogen. The reason we do this is to allow us to have a lower capex, because we don't need to develop the vehicle. We just develop the hydrogen tech. We're starting small. We're starting with a 4-wheel drive, the only one available in the world at the moment that runs on hydrogen. That first vehicle, we've finished the concept already, will be going through the roadworthy for Europe and the UK. We then hand it over to the customer and we build the next one. Our next vehicle up, because we have a number of models, is a 3.5-ton truck. Once we go through exactly the same process. We get it roadworthy for the UK and Europe, and then we move on to the next one, which is an 18-ton truck. Once the business is more mature, we look forward to launching our own vehicles, which will be things like delivery vans and taxis. But step one, we want to stand on our own 2 feet and let's get the retrofitting away using H2X proprietary technology.
Yeah. And look, I'm glad you touched there just then on H2X proprietary technology. What is the intellectual property that has been developed by the company today?
It looks the most obvious is we have our own fuel tanks that are a little bit different. They're a little bit smaller than, they take up less space than some of our competitors. They're also conveniently bulletproof, just to make sure they can handle the rigors of traffic and the abuse that a typical commercial vehicle experiences. We've also got technology that allows some of our vehicles to run without the need of a separate lithium battery or any battery. We also have proprietary software that keeps everything working together and allows us to plug into the 4-wheel drive of the traditional internal combustion engine and still access 4-wheel drive capability. And that's really important. We don't want to make a vehicle that looks like a 4-wheel drive. We actually want one that can operate and sort of take a knock and go off-road and smash it around and come back to base.
Yeah. All right. Well, that sounds very exciting. And so in terms of the intellectual property, I mean, behind every great idea is a great person. Who are some of the great minds of H2X besides yourself, of course?
You're very kind, Jack. Look, a special mention to our founders, Brendan Norman and Chris Rates, who have had the idea and the inspiration and the vision for H2X. I also want to give a really special shout out to Ian Thompson, who is our Chief Technology Officer. He's based in the UK. And Ian has got irreplaceable experience. Ian was involved as one of the lead engineers on the original Tesla Roadster. Ian was working at Lotus at the time, and they worked on retrofitting the sort of Tesla components into the Roadster. So really for Ian, H2X is second time round, and that's his experience is so valuable and irreplaceable.
Yeah, I mean, great pedigree there across the board and so important. And yeah, Ian Thompson, a bit of a superstar in automotive circles. Before I let you go, let's talk about the future. What are the future plans for H2X?
Oh, Jack, I'm always very forward-looking, and so this is a great passion of mine. H2X have now proven the vehicle, its capability. We now want to enter into mass production, starting with the Warrego, which is our 4-wheel drive, and then progressing up into the bigger vehicles. We also have bigger corporate aspirations. Now, I believe that listing makes a lot of sense for a business like H2X. Now, on the one hand, you've got the commercial aspect where the funds are useful to build out your vehicle and your order book. But equally, I think being on the public markets and being subject to all that rigor and disclosure, it just shows that H2X are here in for the long haul. Now, we're already treating ourselves like a listed business, even though we haven't yet gone through an IPO. And I think that's really important that our our staff and our team, we actually treat ourselves as if we're listed now. So really excited on that journey. And to that end, we look forward to going to the AIS, the Australian Investment Summit, next month. Jack, look forward to seeing you there and speaking with European exchanges. I know the AIS is in partnership with the London Stock Exchange, and we look forward to presenting at their venues. So really excited about that time of evolution for H2X as we enter the public markets.
Yeah, I mean, an IPO event always a massive moment for any company, and H2X in a listed environment will enable all sorts of investors who believe in the story and believe in helping drive zero emission mobility can get behind the stock and have their ownership piece of it. So very exciting times ahead for H2X Global. As you mentioned, H2X Global will be at the Australian Investment Summit on July 10 at the London Stock Exchange. So if you would like to meet Antony in the flesh, you can so by registering. Please refer to the link in the description for more information. Antony, thank you so much for your time. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, Jack. See you next month.